What's up, everybody, and welcome to Weekday Wagers live on a Tuesday. But unfortunately, this is going to be our last show before Christmas, so we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas for sure, but also getting through the holidays, spending time with family, friends. I know I will be, as well as the other guys that we have today. Even Marky Model is spending some quality time, and you might just see him and maybe get some plays today on the show. But this Tuesday show is going to be a little bit different. We're not going to have just your regular Tuesday show. So we brought in a guest, Mr. EC. A lot of people know him as EC, but it's Eric Cohen's going to be joining me and Robbie Hockey. And we're going to get through all of our plays. But today, it's usually just 2 plays on a Tuesday. But now it's going to be a 12-pack as well as maybe some bonus plays from Mexico and Mark, who sent in some plays here just a few minutes ago. So we'll see what those are today on the show. But as always, we'll get through our plays. We'll talk through the games that are on the horizon, which are a ton. It's going to be a jam-packed show. But let's go ahead and look back at how we did last night and look at Mr. George Kittle. Did us all a favor. He somehow secured 67-plus receiving yards, but he did not completely screw me out of my fantasy football matchup. He went out with an ankle injury right before he won his part of his, I guess, whoever I was playing against. So thank you for George Kittle, but also the CMC touchdown, the 49ers money line cash for me. So a little 2-0 day for us. All right. Well, today's show's loaded. We're even going to do a saloon shot. So go ahead and get those in and get everything into the chat here. But let's bring in the fellas. All right. I'm going to start off with Robbie Hockey. He is an OG here. Robbie, we have a loaded slate here. What are you excited about the entire most part of this week?
Well, first is a loaded hockey slate tonight, so I am excited about that. I'm sad that there's no Survivor tomorrow night because usually that's my Wednesday routine, but it's Christmas Eve, so I'm sure I'll be busy anyway. And we got football on Christmas Day and all throughout the weekend, so I'm excited for all of it, man. And I don't have to work, so if I don't have to work and I get to watch football, yeah, sign me up. You're on mute.
Yep.
You're on mute.
Oh, but we lost you there, DJ. Yeah, we can't. Okay.
Oh. Well, DG figures it out. EC, what is up, man? How are you doing today?
Robbie, good to be on with you guys. Listen, we got a lot of action going on here the next few days. My voice quality not the best. Getting over a sickness last week. Hey, it's the holidays. What do you expect? Love it. We got a full NBA slate tonight. We got a full NHL slate. I was just degenerating parlays before coming on this show. I don't even want to tell you what I'm doing here, but they have on DraftKings, that king of the court. You can have 3 players. The guy that I'm going with tonight, I don't think we're talking about this, so I figure I'm throwing it out there. Jalen Johnson from the Hawks. I think I'm playing triple-double. I'm playing 55 PRA, and I'm playing 30 points. You parlay that together, and it's like what? Something like 9-1 or something like that. Let's take a shot. Wow. Let's try to make some money and go with that.
All right. Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Finally, I don't know what's going on. I wasn't on mute. I promise. I don't know what it was, but my wife is in here printing some stuff, so maybe it just completely messed it all up. We'll blame it on her. She's shaking her head at me. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into the show because we want to talk about everything that is surrounding this entire week of sports because it is the holiday season. But I also want to make sure that we talk about, honestly, besides all the games, everything that you have in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and just open it up. Instead of us running today's show, I say the chat runs today's show. And let's go ahead. Any comments, anything that you have, whether it's for EC, Robbie, or I, we're going to go ahead and talk through it. So whether it is hockey, I don't know anything about besides the Ducks. They quack a lot and they're damn good. I like them, but besides that, don't ask me any hockey questions, but anything else, we'll talk through all the game as much as we possibly can today. But I don't want to start off with just sports talk because it is a Tuesday and we have a loaded slate starting today. So Robbie, I want you to go ahead and get the people started with some picks. And so I know you have some ice picks. So let's go ahead and get to those right now.
100%. And look, you can actually play this as an SGP. Like EC said, go crazy tonight. I'm going crazy. I'm taking Leon Draisaitl for 2+ points at +110. I'm actually taking him for an anytime goal at +130. And why? Because he gets his line mate back, Jack Roslovic, who I'm also taking for 1+ point at +100. When these two are together, they do nothing but put goals on the board. Draisaitl has gone cold since his buddy got injured. He's back tonight, and they're playing the Flames. So let me tell you, the Flames absolutely suck. Edmonton's going to run away with this game. These two are going to combine for at least 2+ points apiece, and they may even get 2 goals apiece. But I love Draisaitl 2+ points at +110. Jack Roslovic for 1+ point at +100.
All right, I'm going to go with UNLV here on the spread at -6.5 at -112. I like UNLV. They are the running Rebels. But the main thing I like about them, it's Dan Mullen. You keep your coach. He's in a good spot here in a bowl game. I don't even know the bowl game, but it ain't the Pop-Tart Bowl. I still think UNLV runs out on Miami of Ohio or whoever they might be. Should you be allowed to call yourself Miami if you're not from a Sunshine State? It just doesn't sit right with me. So they're not going to be good tonight. So I like UNLV. And then my guy, Cam Spencer's one of the Spencer brothers. He's a lethal shooter. He's a feisty player. But also what he does, he's a gamer. And what they need the most with the Memphis Grizzlies going against Utah, they need somebody to dish the rock. So I like 8+ assists tonight. It's at +140. The line is at 6.5. You want to go over that, but it's -125. So I thought for the good people, let's go ahead and throw us some plus money plays here. So Cam Spencer, 8+ assists tonight at +140. All right. Well, that's all we have tonight on a beautiful Tuesday, but we have more picks and everybody's got your questions coming in. But let's go ahead and talk about the games that are in EC. I'm going to go to you first. We're looking at UNLV going against Ohio, but the Hilltoppers, Western Kentucky against Southern Miss, but also Toledo. They're playing right now against the Louisville Cardinals. Is there anything any one of those games that you like the most? Anything that kind of tickles your fancy right now on a Tuesday?
All right, DG, here's the parlay I put together for college football. I ignored the late game. Listen, I can see your pick on UNLV, and I can see Taj's in the chat about Ohio U. I didn't have a strong feeling on that. I'm sure that will be an add to my card later in the day. I went with Louisville money line. I think they're going to beat Toledo. I didn't want to lay 12.5, but I played the money line and over 44.5 on that part of the parlay. And then I did Western Kentucky money line. Now at +110, that line has shifted, and I played under an alt line of 66.5. Something like that. And I got that at like +475 or 473, something like that on DK. The way that I look at it here, Louisville, I think, is going to smoke Toledo. I could see Louisville scoring in the 30s in this game. We just need 10 to 15 or 10 to 14 points from Toledo to go over, in my opinion. So let's say worst case 31-14 Louisville. And then in the other game, that's a tough one. I mean, Southern Miss now playing for Blake Anderson, who's promoted to their full-time coach after Charles Huff left. But Western Kentucky, Tyson Helton is something like 6-2 in bowl games. So I'm going to roll with Western Kentucky. I like getting the underdog there at +110, and we're going to play the under. I think this game ends up in the 50s at most, not going that deep into the 60s.
Damn. That's all I got to say. Like, I need one of those the WWE. Who was the guy?
Ron Simmons.
Ron Simmons just goes, damn, and the whole screen shakes. All right, I'm not going to follow that. Robbie, would you like to follow that?
Yeah, if EC likes it and it's Christmas time, yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, speaking of Christmas time, we thought we'd share just a little bit more. So we had a friend send in a video today, and so my guys have not seen it yet. So let's see what Marky Model has to say today.
Hey everybody, it is Mark here, and I am coming to you from the Riviera Maya down in Mexico. Want to wish everybody a very happy holiday, and I do have some plays. You know I'm not going to miss this show. For tonight, we're going to take the Philadelphia and Chicago. We're going to take the first period under 1.5 goals. You can get that at -105. Reason here, it's Spencer Knight. You guys know that I love Spencer Knight. At home, 86% of his home starts have gone under 1.5. And if you want to sprinkle a little for Philadelphia to go scoreless in the first, that's at +130. 76% of his home starts have held the opposing team scoreless in the first. I love that look as well. Saturday, we're going to go to Houston and my LA Chargers. We're going to take the total under 39.5 at -110. The Chargers are fighting for their spot in the playoffs. They want to improve their position. The Texans, they still have to clinch their spot. Their defenses, both defenses, have been absolutely elite. They're in the top tier EPA in both rushing and passing. I love this for a defensive battle, very low scoring affair. Lastly, Sunday, we're going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers -2.5 at -130. Look, old man Rodgers is going to teach Shedeur Sanders a lesson. We're talking about the Cleveland Browns here. Pittsburgh still has to clinch a spot. Look for the Steelers to lay it to the Browns and clinch their spot in the process. Listen, if you get a chance, I'll be over at the Swim Up Bar. I'll see you in the chat.
Marky model, Robbie, just by the pool, just honestly, it's making me jealous for sure.
Yeah, if I didn't take that trip to Florida during Thanksgiving, I would definitely be hating him right now. But I'm still like 50% rested for my Florida trip. It's getting lower, though, because every day towards Christmas is like $300 a day. There's crap breaking around the house. The house is a mess, and everybody's coming to my house tomorrow night. So, yeah, I'll be drained as soon as the holidays are over. I need to get back to Florida.
Not a fan of that. EC, are we proud of Mark for sending in his plays, but also enjoying some R&R?
What a legend. I mean, he's down there in Mexico. I don't even know how he's betting. I'm sure he probably has somebody that that's making bets for him. If so, good for you, Mark, getting in some plays. I'll tell you, I'm a little concerned about that Steelers play. I actually looked at it and was going to submit it. However, if Baltimore loses to Green Bay on Saturday night, which they probably should, who knows what happens with Lamar Jackson, then Pittsburgh has nothing to play for. They're already locked into the 4 seed. They clinched the division. So that line keeps going down. I think it should be around a touchdown regardless. But does Pittsburgh sit everybody? Metcalf's not going to play. Calvin Austin's not going to play. Going to be run. I don't hate it, but I would just tread carefully. Just wait and see what happens with Baltimore first.
All right. Well, that's a very good insight because you got to think like all these games play into each other. And so if there is, because there's Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, NFL, like all these games have, correlating aspects into it. So I love that. Let's talk about Thursday because I know we have some plays. Both of y'all have plays on Christmas Day, but I want to make sure we get to it. So Robbie, obviously we're going to hit on the Cowboys game. It is Washington and the Cowboys. Is there any way to attack this other than player props? Because we don't know what in the world is going to happen with the game. So are you just diving completely into player props that game?
Absolutely. Well, you know me, I don't do sides and totals anyway. I suck at those. But I know our season's over, DG, as Cowboys fans, but Washington should be trotting out maybe a third-string quarterback.
Right.
They're also beat up. So if you're going to lean anybody, I would lean Dallas. It looks like we're playing all of our starters in this game.
Okay.
So I would lean Dallas if you're looking for a money line pick. But, yeah, player props galore in that one on the Cowboys side.
All right, EC, any game that you're looking forward to the most? Obviously, it is the Cowboys and Washington, but also Lions, Vikings, and then the nightcap is Denver and KC. None of these games really matter, but maybe the Lions, Vikings, if anything had to matter. Is there any game you're looking forward to the most?
Well, I have a pick. Do you want me to give out my pick yet, DG, for a pick for Thursday? You want me to roll with it?
Let's roll with it. Let's go.
Let's roll with it. Okay, the game that I'm looking forward to the most, the Lions and the Vikings under 44.5 at -115. So here, this is kind of an angle I like playing in college basketball. The first meeting, the total was 47.5, and it went over 27-24 when Minnesota upset Detroit in Detroit. Now the total has dropped to 44.5, likely because Max Brosmer, who's going to start for the Vikings, absolutely stinks. Regardless, when I see a total go over in the first one and then the line is lower or vice versa, I kind of want to play the angle in which the sportsbook is telling us. That number of 44.5 is kind of a key number too. You see a lot of 24-21, a lot of 45s. So I'm going to actually play the under and say that Minnesota, they've gone under in 6 of their last 7 games. Detroit, albeit they're over in 7 of the last 8, but Brosmer is so bad. And even the Lions defense can't make him look that much better. It's just not going to be good for Minnesota. Detroit 24, Minnesota 16. We're going under 44.5.
How has EC's plays been? Because I know you have your sheet that you put out, your entire, is it a newsletter? Is that what we're calling that?
I just, I put it on my website. I used to put the picks up for Sportsline. I've been putting them on my website. I'm hitting straight up at 67% this year. Not bad.
Nice.
Against the spread, I'm not tracking those, but I'm probably based on a pool that I'm in slightly above 500 there. But I love playing totals. I know Robbie doesn't. But so I'm rolling with a total here, and we're just going with what the sports book's telling us. Let's go with the under. I know it's not fun, but I'm also facing Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown in my biggest fantasy league in the title game. So maybe I'm kind of wishing this one comes true a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. As Joe said, all these unders, you and Mark giving out unders in the NFL. But honestly, it's the right play. Like, if you look at these games, like a lot of these bowl games in NCAA have been going over because nobody cares about defense. But right now, honestly, these offenses aren't clicking, or honestly, that they don't want to put themselves at harm's way in the NFL. And these defenses are still professional men. And so, yes, that's why we do have some of those unders coming in. But let's go ahead and keep on that Thursday. It's the Christmas day, and we only have one other play. We talked about, the first game within the Cowboys, but I believe, Robbie, you got 2 player props for Thursday overall. What you got?
I do. Like I said in the Dallas game, I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb, 78+ receiving yards at -115. Yeah, it's another year and another disappointment. Nothing to look forward to as far as playoff goes for Cowboys fans. Thanks, Matt Eberflus. Lamb didn't make the Pro Bowl, which he shouldn't have. He missed a few games, and George Pickens ate into a lot of his work. But Washington may be down to their third-string quarterback. And honestly, even though it's not publicly that big of a deal, it's still a big rivalry game between fan bases. CeeDee Lamb has 100+ receiving yards with 6 or more catches in 3 of his last 4 games. He's averaging 91.6 receiving yards in his last 3 games against Washington, going off for 110 in their first meeting this season. Washington gives up the 7th most passing yards per game. So I'm looking for Dak and CD to hook up. I know it's going to be like a stocking stuffer. It's a gift card play, but I think CeeDee Lamb cashes for us. And then we're going to take an over in that Minnesota and Detroit game, and that's going to be David Montgomery, 7+ receiving yards at -115. The last time these teams met, David Montgomery was kind of the bell cow because Jahmyr Gibbs sucks at pass blocking. I know Minnesota's out. I know Detroit's hanging on by a thread, but it's their blitzing that's what worries me with Jahmyr Gibbs this weekend. He can't pass block to save his life. It's going to open up a lot of passes for Jared Goff to check down to David Montgomery. 7 receiving yards for David Montgomery is ridiculous. This is usually at 11.5, 12. I think he cashes this easily on one play, and I think he's going to get a lot of work this weekend against Minnesota.
Yeah, the game there, you're talking about, David Montgomery, he has to, honestly show up because Jahmyr Gibbs has been awesome, but they need to win this game. No matter what happens, like they have to win this game. And so I think that we do see some dump outs out of the backfield for sure. EC, do you like Robbie's plays?
I do. I think this is going to be a run. I mean, obviously, once again, I'm biased with the anti-Amon-Ra and Jared Goff play, but I think this is a running game for Detroit. I think, they're going to have the ball probably more often than they should because Max Brosmer will throw interceptions. You might want to throw into that parlay a Max Brosmer INT or 2 because he's just not good. We saw what happened when he played Seattle. He stunk. And the Giants last week, you can't tell much because they have a terrible defense this year. But I think we're going to see it's a Montgomery game. I think he, 50+ yards and a touchdown for sure. So I like that, Robbie. I think you're on the right track. And CeeDee Lamb as well, I think, should have a nice game against a terrible secondary.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we're at, talking about CeeDee Lamb, him and Dak, they have to show out. Even though, like Robbie on that one, like even though they don't have anything to play for, like why do you think that they still put Dak out there as the quarterback 1, but also wide receiver 1 and CeeDee Lamb? Why are they still in week 17 still going to be out there and connecting and putting up big numbers?
Because we got those new uniform combinations. We're wearing white helmets and white pants with the blue jersey. So you got to look good while you're in your new uniforms. That's about the only reason I can think of. What's going to suck is if they go out there and they both get hurt with some bad like ACL or ankle break like Dak did last year. Right. I'm hoping we cash this in the first half and they just set the rest of the second half.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be the worst is week 17. You have an injury, especially for your two prime guys. So we'll see how that goes. All right, let's move on. Unless anybody, EC, do you have anything else for Christmas Day games? Okay, nope. Robbie?
No, nothing else.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on past that. So we do have our Fridays coming up. It's the day after Christmas, and so we'll call these our stocking stuffers as we move on because Christmas is over. But you know what? You might need a little bit more. So let's go ahead and give our plays. And so I know me and EC have plays. I'm going to go ahead and get to mine. That's not you.
Nope. There you go.
That's me. I don't know why it switched us, but FIU and UTSA. If you've been following me at all, UTSA is one of my favorite other than Texas State, but UTSA has been a cash cow. This is an NCAA football game. It's a bowl game. And yes, you're probably not going to be watching, but what you can do is say, hey, I'm not really going to be paying too much attention to it, but over 59.5 with these two teams at -110, I think this thing is easily into the 60s. The model has it at 61. So it is a little bit of a small edge. I think this thing is no defense, all offense. Let that thing fly. And we're going to have 60-plus points in this game. All right, let's see what EC's got.
All right, I'm going with on Friday, Minnesota -2.5 against New Mexico in the Rate Bowl, which is right down the road from me at Chase Field here in Phoenix. So Minnesota has won 8 straight bowl games, including PJ Fleck, who's 6-0 in bowl games, having won each by at least 6 points. Now, Minnesota 7-0 at home this season, 0-5 on the road. Not great. So this is not clearly not at home in Minnesota. And New Mexico has won 6 straight to end the season, and this is their first bowl game since 2016. Under most circumstances, I would take New Mexico in this game. They're motivated to be here, but Minnesota gets up for bowl games. I was at an ugly Minnesota bowl game against West Virginia at the Rate Bowl in 2021. I fortunately was in a suite somehow, and Minnesota won 18-6. It won't be that ugly, but Minnesota will win 24-17 over New Mexico. Now, on Saturday is the Texas Bowl. Houston -3 against LSU. And I'm not gonna overthink this one. It's a bowl game between a team that wants to be here, Houston, and one that wishes that it could have opted out in LSU. It's a home game for Houston being played about 20 minutes from campus. However, they are 6-0 this season in games that were not played at their home stadium. Between the motivation and the fact that Houston doesn't like playing in their home stadium, I'll give me Houston 23, LSU 10. I think they cover the -3 in the Texas Bowl.
All right, you're not worried about the Lane Kiffin effect to LSU. You know, everybody plays better, right, EC?
Well, no, because how many of these guys are going to be in the NFL, and how many of these guys are actually going to be on the team next year? He's waiting for Ole Miss to get knocked out of the playoff, and then he's going to recruit half that team to go over there. So as far as I'm concerned, LSU has no motivation to be in this game, and I think they're going to get blown out.
Yeah,
and
I
if they're
agree.
hanging out with Lane Kiffin, they're going to be mightily hungover before that game anyway. So it's nothing but good for that game.
Now I'm a little bitter at Houston because they're one of the losses. Houston and BYU were 2 of Arizona's 3 losses that kept them out of the Big 12 championship game. But hey, I am getting a trip to San Diego for the Holiday Bowl next Friday, Arizona SMU. I know I probably won't be on with you guys before then. You know who to pick. You know the team that's won 5 in a row in November. I'm wearing their shirt today. You better know who to pick for that game. I'm not going to give my pick, but you have an idea of what I'm doing.
I like that. And Kevin KC says we should all call these no-name bowls the Toilet Bowl. But that brings up an interesting question because I don't believe in that. I think that these games have meaning to the kids mainly, also the fans, the program. And so, EC, I'm going to start with you on this one because I know you follow, college football, but college sports, much closer than probably any of us do. But in general, what would you change about the college bowl seasons? Because now we have the NIL and the playoffs, and so everything's being taken away a little bit here and there. Is there any way you would change it into a positive in your eyes?
I think the bowl season, as we know it, is just about done. I mean, I know ESPN likes the extra broadcasts and such,
right,
but it's just not working. I mean, when you're looking at guys, you don't even know who's going to play in any of these
right,
games. And I was at the game in 2015 where Jalen Smith of Notre Dame, the linebacker, was supposed to be a top 3 pick in the NFL draft, and he blew out his knee and had to miss a year. And that's what started the whole opt-out trend. Before that, we never saw this.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see this continually, and that's why, as much as I've been against it, I would actually expand the college football playoff to 24. And then you're going to get your best players playing, and it's going to prevent those guys from going in the portal in most cases. And I know a lot of those teams don't have a chance to win the national championship. I get it, but it's more meaningful games, which we're not seeing right now during bowl season. And that's what's a shame.
Robbie?
Yeah, I think the only thing that stood out with the bowls this year was kind of the Notre Dame, when you got seniors who they may have been out of the playoff, but they didn't realize that was their last game ever in that uniform. I think that's kind of the travesty of Notre Dame opting out the way that they did. Other than that, I completely agree with EC. I have not watched one bowl game this year. Florida is definitely not in a bowl, so that would be the only way I've watched a bowl game. I have watched the college football playoff, but the meaningless bowl games, I could care less, and it's because none of the players scared.
Yeah, well, I'm going to bring this one up from Nate G. He's saying the Xbox Bowl and the Pop-Tart Bowl better not go anywhere. So that brings me into my opinion. I think you can obviously expand the playoffs, and I don't know how much that waters down the actual regular season. That could be something that could happen. But let's just say it stays the same because there's an angry person that doesn't want to move off of what is already done. Is there a way that we could get some college level? I don't want to say like, I don't know, like the brands, like Pop-Tarts are college kids, Xbox, PlayStation. There's so many different brands within that. And you made this like the college kids' dream of all their favorite brands. And you made it let's say you could make it a 24 team tournament. Who's the best of the rest, and put $1 million on the line of whoever ends up winning it. That team splits the $1 million. I think you could easily do that. And I think you put all these brands together, puts their heads together, and it would be a marketing, in my opinion, it would market to the fan bases a lot better within the colleges. And so this could be opportunity. I don't know if that's too many teams because you only have so long to play this out. But if they're doing it with what they have already in the college playoff, I think you could somehow find a way to make it work. EC, am I crazy?
Well, yes and no. I think that I think if you take some of these group of 6 teams now with the Pac-12 coming back, the Pac-12 with 8 teams coming back next year, and you had their own separate playoff, it'd be one. You let the best team go into the college football playoff, and then the others, go and kind of compete for their own little national championship. Eventually, that's what's going to happen. You're going to see another level. Instead of FBS and FCS, you're going to have FBS, something in between, and then FCS. Yeah. And then, that's probably how it should be. But there's just too many have-nots in college football. Now, you could say James Madison played a great game against Oregon the other day. But honestly, did they have any chance to win when they were down 35-3? No. They came back, they had a nice second half, and they screwed a lot of us who had the line at 20.5 or 21.5 for Oregon. So good for them. But they honestly did not belong over Notre Dame. Let's be honest.
I love the whole tier systems where you do have, obviously Division I, where you have, what it is right now, but then bringing in other levels or tier systems, especially in the college football, would make so much more sense, especially within the NIL, because they're already not competing on the same level of money, let alone on the field. And so that's the whole correlation. Robbie, EC, is he making a point here? Does this make more sense than my stupid college kids dream bowl?
Yeah, and instead of calling it the NIT like they do in basketball, just call it the NIL, and you could just have some incentives for the lesser teams. You could do 24 of the best and then take 24 of the not so best and do it that way if you want to expand it to 24. But yeah, that's kind of, that might be how I would do it. But yeah, it's a mess. Everything about college football right now is a mess. My goal would be to be good enough to be a college football coach, get the big payday, and then get fired so I could retire somewhere.
Well, I can give you like kind of an illustration of who and what to do if you want to be fired from a college football head coach position. We won't go into that
without the lawsuits. I want to keep my money and my wife, preferably. So
yeah, that's smart space, especially around Christmas time. We don't want to go that way. But Joe's bringing up a point here, EC, and I had to ask you, like, I wasn't aware that you were a Packers fan. So your thoughts about how that game played out?
Disgusting, pathetic, awful, horrible. Team is the worst in the history of the NFL at recovering meaningful onside kicks. Think about the NFC Championship game against Seattle, 2016 or something. I mean, it's just disgusting. Like, no other and then watching, DJ Moore with his post-game speech and Caleb Williams with the cheese grater, sickening. I mean, between Jordan Love getting hurt, Micah Parsons getting hurt, the season's over. Let me just bet other teams and the Packers season. Put me out of my misery already and hope the next year's better. I will say that apparently next year, and I found out this, the Super Bowl in 2027 is going to be played on Valentine's Day. Would it not be ironic for a quarterback named Love to be in the Super Bowl in 2027? I'm just going to say that.
If the colors come out and there's like that orangish yellow, whatever, that Packers gold, whatever that is, if that is in the logo for that Super Bowl, then that has to mean something, right?
I mean, let's see if that trend continues this year. I think it's a stretch with all that, but anybody that says the script writers of the NFL, I have my I'll tell you who's whining about this, Lions fans. They're complaining. So, this call's gone against us, blah, blah, blah. The NFL's not fixed. Are there some questionable calls? Sure. Would the NFL love the Packers to be in the Super Bowl? Sure, they would love the Buffalo Bills to be in the Super Bowl, but then why hasn't it happened in 30-something years?
Yeah,
I do believe the NFL is fixed for one reason.
Come on.
I had a plus 2,200 parlay that needed Tony Pollard to score a touchdown. Jeffrey Simmons raised his hand and said he was eligible. Pollard scores. No, that don't count. BS. They knew my $25 on that 2,200 parlay was going to hit, and they screwed me out of it.
You know, you see things in games, and I mean, that was bad. And I saw the video that's been put out on social media about that. I needed one for a huge parlay to hit. It was like a 12-1, and it paid nicely. And I needed 6 receiving yards from Harold Fannin against the Bills in the second half in a game where they were chasing points. He was getting targeted like crazy in the first half and then goes invisible, and Shedeur stops looking at him. It happens. I mean, I'm not going to go, oh my gosh, this is fixed. It's just bad. You know, you can't fix when you look at. We were watching a game. I was watching a game as the Giants and the Lions the other week. I'm sorry to go on a little bit longer.
You're good. You're good.
But
go for it.
Jake Bates hit a 59-yard field goal to send the game into overtime, and you can't. And it was a field goal that was like it started out this way and then kind of came. You're like, you can't fix that. If he misses the kick, Detroit loses. They're done. Of course, they wanted Detroit to win. You can't fix a kick going like. It just was what you can't tell me the air was blowing it back through the uprights. There's some bad calls, and I get that. And that was a bad one that went against you, Robbie, but I'm not willing to say, hey, we're done here. This is the fix.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think it's bad officiating. I think it's inconsistent officiating
so
all across the league. And for $1 billion business to not have full-time officials that should call it the same way every game, every play, is ridiculous to me. It goes same with college and any other sport too. If you have a $1 billion league, you should be able to hire officials full time who's not an accountant on the side. This is their full time job and should be held accountable when they do stuff like that and screw things up.
Well, they pay them enough. They could only really have one job if they wanted that. Let's just be honest, but they don't. They want to be lawyers on the side because it's probably they're older and they're like, hey, I can still do both. I can still make a bank, with my firm. So yes, I get what you're saying, but yes, I think they are full time. They just choose to do other things on the side. But let's go ahead and get to our plays. We do have our Saturday and Sunday plays, and I have one Saturday. EC's got a Sunday play, and then we'll get into the rest of the NFL. We'll do our saloon shot, and we'll get out of here. I won't spend too much time. So I'm going to go ahead and start it with us on our Saturday, and I'm going to start off with the Texans. Bolt up, fam. Yeah, we're not doing that, Mark. The Chargers, they showed out against the Cowboys. But guess what? The Cowboys suck. We suck. We've been sucking for many, many years. I don't even remember the last time we actually won something. And yes, that hold by Tony Romo, that still haunts me. The catch from Des Bryant, that still haunts me. But I'm sorry. Yes, but that is really what it is. That's what wakes me up in the middle of the night. And so this Texans plus 2.5 going up against the Chargers. The Chargers are an okay team. I don't think that they're that great. I do think that Herbert's playing much better, but the defense for the Texans has been so good. They're lights out. Giving them 2.5 on the road. It's not really a road game when you go into SoFi Stadium. So plus 2.5 for the Texans. I like that all day, every day. Let's go to EC here.
Joe in the chat asked, who would I make as my Super Bowl pick right now? Well, at the start of the year, I had Baltimore and Washington. Well, sorry, be more Terp. That was not a good pick. I'm sorry I jinxed your team. If I were to, the AFC is a mess. Another one of the futures I put in was Rams against Bills, but I still don't know if Buffalo can win on the road. Here's a team that I would really take a long look at. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're laying 6.5 on the road against the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday. Jacksonville 6-0 straight up and against the spread in their last 6. And in each of their last 8 games, they've scored 25 or more points. Colts are done. They have nothing to play for. Is Phillip Rivers even going to play, or is it Riley Leonard time? Might want to protect Phillip's health and not let him play because Jacksonville is going for the AFC's number 1 seed. And at worst, to clinch the AFC South over the Texans, I think they roll here. Jaguars 34, Colts 21, and covering that 6.5 point spread.
I love that EC gives out the actual numbers of the game, like 34-21. It just seems, 1, professional. 2, I love it because it gives me an idea as to if I wanted to play into some team totals, if I wanted to look at maybe an under, if I wanted to look at a total overall. So shout out to you, EC. I do like that. I might have to steal that.
Yeah, the thing is, DG, I was doing this on, Sportsline the other year, and everybody just will give out a pick, and I'm thinking one thing that I love to read is when people give out score predictions online. So I started doing videos for them, NFL score predictions, and it'd get a lot of nasty comments, and it's fun. That's fun to read about yourself when people would do that. But I said, for college, for every college game I pick, I'm gonna have a score prediction. In addition to the NFL, it makes it kind of fun. And as you said, it also allows when I go back later in the week to evaluate things. And it's just coming up with them off the top of my head. I don't have a model like you guys do. I'm just kind of pulling these, picks out of my rear end. But this is how I feel about the game. And there's no scientific proof, just what I think. Sometimes I hit it. Well, one year I hit it dead on in the playoffs, and everybody thought I had the script with the Bills and the Chiefs when Tyler Bass missed a field goal and the Chiefs won 27-24. No, I don't have the script. I'm just pulling picks out of my rear end. But hey, I if you gave score predictions, I would love it. That's all I want. I love to hear everybody's score predictions.
That's a great take. I like that, Robbie. We might have to put that into our. I guess when you're doing player props, maybe not. But if you're doing a game, I guess you could probably add that in.
I agree, and I like that too. And if you get it right, and there's a chance to actually bet the same score that you bet, I mean, my God, that's a big payout if you can get it right.
Yeah. Have you hit any exactas? I think somebody was asking. EC.
Yeah, Joe said that in the chat. No, I've never played it. I don't play it. That's such a fluky line. I mean, maybe for the Super Bowl I would take a shot at it.
Right.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
I mean, if you think I'm picking 272 regular season games, and I haven't seen how many I've gotten right this year out of the 240 games I picked, but I'm going to guess no more than one.
Yeah.
If that.
That it's so hard to do because all it takes is literally like somebody missing an extra point, and there's practically zero chance it's ever going to evolve and go the right way with football. And so it's tough.
Here's the thing. I get it for baseball if you want to take a shot, but in basketball, anybody that plays an exacta is either drunk high or some kind of, under the influence of something. Because how can you predict in the NBA or in college basketball how this is going to shake out? There's no way.
Right. It's too tough. It should be variables that come into play there. So I like that. It's a great idea. All right, let's go ahead and finish up because we do have some games on Saturday and Sunday within the NFL. And let's go ahead and just go, Robbie. I'll go to you first. Is there a game that you like the most? There's obviously a ton on Saturday. We do have Texans and the Chargers, but also Baltimore and Green Bay. And then the Sunday, it's the rest of the teams. Everybody is playing this entire week of Week 17. Is there a game that you like outside of the actual Cowboys and Washington game, which I know it's your favorite?
Exactly. There's a couple. Philadelphia and Buffalo would be an interesting game. Chicago and San Francisco were two interesting games. Seattle and Carolina. There's a lot on the line in that game. So there's a few games this weekend. But like you said earlier, it's best to see how Saturday shakes out. I usually like doing the Robbie's Radar segment, getting player props out like on Wednesday. Not this week. This week we have to see how Saturday shakes out. I got to see who's winning, who's losing, and what people actually have to play for. So you probably won't get any player props from me till Saturday night, till all the dust is settled.
No doubt. All right, EC, anything that any game that you're looking forward to the most?
I can barely talk now. My coughing, of course, getting over this cold. Yeah, I haven't looked at anything too deep yet into Saturday and Sunday's games. We'll take a look at that. It's fantasy football championship season. I'm in 4 leagues that I've made it to. My own league, I'm in the title game. I'm 0 for 28 lifetime in winning this league. 0 for 28.
Wow.
Is this the year that I get over the hump?
You know what they say about being 0 for 28 is you're due. Like that, if anything, I don't think it's about you not being good. I think that you're due.
DG, I've said this I've said this for years. Back 20 years ago, it came down to a Rams receiver, Torrey Holt. 2 minutes left. They were playing the Cowboys. Sunday night game. Jamie Martin threw him a screen pass. He dropped it. I lost the entire season. It was a total points for the whole year by 0.36. A third of a point. He could have gotten the ball and run back 6 yards. So 20 years later, it comes down to a Rams receiver for me in the last game of the fantasy season, Puka Nacua, on Monday night. I hope that I have better luck.
I hope
we had a similar. It was Preston Bostein, who's at Just a Stat Sports and in the chat a lot. We played in the championship game. It was a few years ago, and I was down, and I needed Michael Thomas, and then I had their kicker at the time. I can't remember who their kicker was now. I had Michael Thomas needed like 7 more points, and the kicker needed just 1 more point. Thomas catches a slant, scores a touchdown, they kick the extra point, win the game, and I win the championship by 1.
Unbelievable.
So that extra point, yeah.
Unbelievable. I had a buddy last night get knocked out of his, and I know it's fantasy football. He was winning by 2, had a Brock Purdy miracle, and Purdy decided to randomly throw that ball in the fourth quarter, threw a pick. He tied and lost the tiebreaker and got knocked out of his playoffs.
Oh, man.
Didn't even need to throw. Run it, kick a field goal, you're up 17, game over.
That's the worst. That might be the worst I've heard, because at that point, he brings you back. You're feeling good, and then how do you make that mistake?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's
unreal.
Well, I know I'm in the championship of the Weekday Wagers fantasy football, but you know what? Who's over here bragging about this? Probably going to bring this thing home again. All right. Well, something else to brag about is our shooting our shot. Chance to get into the saloon. I see Mark is taking advantage of not being on the show and giving out his parlay that you're not allowed to do if you're on the show. You're allowed to just put in the first touchdown. So Mark's already trying to take advantage of it. I get it. But today on the show, we're going to give out ours. Go ahead. I see a lot of people already put them in the chat of your saloon shot. So this is your chance. And I don't even have it on my screen because it's a Tuesday. So let me go find it on the Friday show as it's messing everything up. All right, here is the shoot your shot. All right, there we go. We're just mixing things around. All right, let's get to our saloon shot here, and let's see if this thing still works. I didn't confuse it enough. But right here, Miss Kimberly, it's just completely embarrassing us all. She's got her 4. I'm in. Miss Nonsense, not Mr. Nonsense, but Miss Nonsense is in. Tony's in. Boom, boom, Robbie, and then Joe, the inaugural first time ever being into the saloon. Robbie, you are the winner. You are the only person on the panel that's got in. So you go ahead and go first. What you got?
Yeah, this is kind of fantasy football relevant because I am in a championship in my hockey league, which God bless those guys. I don't think they even know what a football is, but we still try anyway. I'm taking Trey McBride plus 1,000 to score first because my opponent this weekend needed a huge game out of Trey, and he absolutely let them down. So I'm taking Trey McBride to score first for Arizona at plus 1,000.
All right, I'm in. I'm going to go next. I'm going to go with Big Play Jay. I played Big Play Jay last week, and he actually scored the team's first touchdown. So I figured I'd keep all the same, plus 1,100. But I'm going Jamison Williams for the first touchdown here for the Detroit Lions. Everybody else is going to be looking for maybe, Amon-Ra, who could be hurt, Gibbs, Montgomery. But that's when they throw it over top. Jamison gets into the tutter first at plus 1,100. And then EC is playing Michael Jordan's kid.
I don't think that's the case there, DG. It's Lil Jordan Humphrey. I don't know how I came up with this one, but I don't see the Chiefs scoring a touchdown against the Broncos with Chris Oludokun or whoever that is. He stunk the other day. So I just had to pick a Denver player. Okay, I narrowed it down to one team.
Right.
And Bo Nix likes to spread the ball around. We saw he had a hospital ball for Pat Bryant at the end of the game on Sunday that got him literally taken to the hospital. So Lil Jordan Humphrey's going to slide in there. He's gotten a few catches each of the last few weeks. Let's get him at 17-1 to get me in the saloon.
Wow. You would be the first guest to get into the saloon to be on the show. And so that would be clutch. All right, let's go through some of these because we do have them. Let me know what you like or don't like as I scroll through these. And we'll start off with, looks like Big Cheesy's got a bunch of plays. These aren't the saloon plays. Stop me if you like any of them. Rodney Tisdale for, I guess, the Hilltoppers over 247.5 pass yards. Parker Navarro for Ohio over 265.5 pass yards. Anybody?
I don't have player props in Arizona,
Same.
so I can't do anything with those.
Same here.
All right, so let's go ahead with a Christmas Tutty parlay. This is the saloon shot for Miss Kim, who's done this already 4 times. Nico Collins, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then Cortland Sutton there for the Denver Broncos. 1183, and she even used the boost on it. Robbie, is she getting in a 5th time?
She is. I'm actually going to have something similar to that when I build up some parlays this weekend. And I have looked at all three of these guys. And yeah, I think she gets in a fifth time.
All right. Well, EC, you tell us your thoughts on this saloon shot from Mark, who you took the place of. Gibbs, St. Brown, Chris Rodriguez for the Washington Commanders, and then RJ Harvey. Anytime tutters for plus 1240.
I love playing me a 4-leg touchdown parlay, Mark. I'm so proud of you. And yeah, I'd take a shot at that.
All right. B More, which is Tony Metzger's got Pickens touchdown, which he needs to show up. St. Brown. Everybody's got a Monra in this one. Sutton there and a Broncos money line. Robbie plus 1070.
Yeah, I'm changing my mind. I've seen St. Brown in every one of these, and you know what's going to happen. He's not going to get one because everybody else, if we're thinking this, so is millions of other people. So I would just, no, not doing St. Brown anymore. We're going to take him out of there.
Speaking of maybe being a curse, EC, did you just curse the Denver Broncos? And now the Chiefs scored the first touchdown?
For sure, because I said the Chiefs wouldn't score a touchdown. Of course they will. Now, it'll be some fluky. This guy will throw like an 80-yard bomb to Rashee Rice if he plays, or Thornton or some other random receiver, Hollywood Brown. And, of course, it's going to mess up my little Jordan. So, yes, who will score the second touchdown to watch?
All right, I had to bring this one back, and I say this one for last. This will be one of the last things we hit on. But, yes, you're talking about your Super Bowl, right? It's on Valentine's Day with Jordan Love. But how about Baltimore going against the Packers, and we have Zay Flowers against Jordan Love? That would be a great combo.
I pick the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl every year. I'm going to do it again next year. You know what? As soon as the matchups come out, I'm going to hammer this. We will do a parlay here on Weekday Wagers. And what I like to do is I like to pick like 2 crappy college basketball games, throw them in there, and then Baltimore to win the AFC, Packers to win the NFC. And let's get it at like 170 to 1. And hopefully get the college basketball ones. I did that with Ohio State last year. I bet something a couple of years ago in March in 2024. I bet it in March of 2024, paid 290 to 1. Last leg was Ohio State winning the title.
Wow.
Damn.
So that's my biggest hit that I've ever had. So we're going to do that again. Jordan Love, Zay Flowers in the Super Bowl. I love it. Be more Terp. Way to go.
All right, there you go. Tony Metzger coming in clutch there. All right, this is the last thing we got. Anything that you are looking forward to, whether it's Christmas Day with sports, whether it's just Christmas overall, anything that really is what you look forward to the most. And it can be family and stuff like that. But if there's anything else in the sports world, would be cool as well. Robbie, I'll let you lead us off.
Yeah, I mean, my Cowboys are playing on Christmas Day. They may suck. They may be out of the playoffs, but they're still playing on Christmas Day. So I'm going to have the Cowboys on one screen and a Christmas story full blast on the other one, because it's always a Christmas story 24/7 for me. As soon as the Wizard of Oz comes on, I know Christmas is over.
Wow. The Wizard of Oz
comes on after the Christmas story almost every year on TBS or TNC, whichever one it's on. And I know then that Christmas is over.
All right. What are you looking forward to, EC? I learned something today.
It's a great sports day on Thursday. You got 3 NFL games. Right. You got 5 NBA games to bet. I mean, we're sitting there degenning all day. You can open presents. You spend time with family and degen. That's a perfect day for me. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to all. And let's make some money.
I think what we need to do is, for a gift, we just need to give somebody a parlay in there, like let them open up the parlay ticket, and you know what? Let's sweat the day away. So maybe I'll use grandma's money to go ahead and put in a parlay to have fun that day with everybody. But yes, thank you all for hanging out with us. As Mark's saying it best, wishing everybody a wonderful and safe holidays. He is out in Mexico enjoying the water, the Mai Tais, and maybe the dirty bananas, the drinks, which are my favorite whenever I go stay at a resort. But yeah, smash the like button. And if you're not somebody who normally watches this, subscribe to us. But EC, can't thank you enough for being a part of this long extended Tuesday show. That's more of our Friday show. But for EC and for Robbie, I am DG. Thank you all for hanging out with us and making us a part of your day. Hopefully we'll continue to be the best part of your day. Have a Merry Christmas. We'll see you later.